Have you ever realized how self-love and self-care are not just luxuries, but essential foundations for a fulfilling life? By nurturing your mind, body, and soul with kindness and intention, you cultivate resilience, confidence, and inner peace, proving that true well-being begins with the way you treat yourself. Self-love is the foundation of emotional and mental well-being, a transformative force that allows individuals to recognize their worth beyond external validation and achievements. Many people grow up seeking approval from others, believing that their value is tied to their successes, their ability to meet expectations, or the praise they receive. This creates a fragile sense of self-worth, one that fluctuates based on circumstances, leaving them vulnerable to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. True self-love, however, shifts the focus inward, teaching individuals to cultivate a deep appreciation for who they are at their core, independent of accolades, recognition, or societal approval. It is a mindset that fosters confidence, resilience, and inner peace, creating a strong foundation upon which personal growth can flourish. Embracing self-love requires treating oneself with kindness, compassion, and respect, just as one would treat a dear friend or loved one. Imagine speaking to a friend who is struggling with self-doubt or failure. Most people would offer words of encouragement, understanding, and reassurance. Yet, when faced with their own shortcomings, they are often far harsher, engaging in relentless self-criticism that only deepens feelings of unworthiness. Learning to extend that same kindness to oneself is a crucial part of self-love. Consider a student who has failed an important exam. Without self-love, they may internalize the failure, believing that it defines their intelligence or potential. However, with self-compassion, they recognize that failure is simply an experience, not an identity. Instead of berating themselves, they acknowledge their disappointment, reflect on ways to improve, and move forward with determination rather than shame. Replacing self-criticism with self-acceptance is one of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of self-love. Society often conditions people to strive for perfection, emphasizing flaws rather than celebrating progress. This mindset leads to an endless cycle of self-doubt, where no achievement ever feels good enough and every mistake seems catastrophic. Self-acceptance, however, offers a liberating alternative. It does not mean complacency or a refusal to grow, but rather an understanding that being human means being imperfect. An artist who constantly compares their work to others may never feel satisfied, always believing that their skills are inadequate. Yet, when they practice self-acceptance, they begin to appreciate their unique artistic voice, recognizing that growth is a journey rather than a destination. The transition from self-criticism to self-love is not instantaneous. It requires continuous practice and conscious effort. A useful exercise is daily self-affirmation, where individuals remind themselves of their intrinsic value through positive reinforcement. For example, a person struggling with body image issues might begin each day by acknowledging one thing they appreciate about themselves, whether it be their strength, their kindness, or their creativity. Over time, these small affirmations create a shift in mindset, replacing negative self-talk with a more nurturing inner dialogue. Another powerful tool for fostering self-love is the practice of gratitude. By shifting the focus from what is lacking to what is present, gratitude reinforces self-worth. A musician who feels insecure about their talent may dwell on their mistakes, believing they will never be good enough. However, by practicing gratitude, they begin to appreciate the joy that music brings them, the progress they have made, and the opportunities they have to share their art with others. This change in perspective allows them to embrace their journey rather than constantly longing for an unattainable ideal. Incorporating self-love into daily life also involves setting personal boundaries, ensuring that one's energy is directed toward healthy, fulfilling relationships rather than draining, toxic interactions. Many individuals struggle with saying no, fearing rejection or disapproval. However, self-love teaches that protecting one's well-being is not selfish, but necessary. A person who consistently overextends themselves, taking on more responsibilities than they can handle, may find themselves feeling exhausted and resentful. Learning to set boundaries, such as declining commitments that compromise their peace, is an act of self-respect. It allows them to prioritize their needs without guilt, reinforcing the understanding that their well-being matters just as much as anyone else's. While the journey to self-love is deeply personal, it is also a universal experience. Everyone at some point in their lives grapples with self-doubt, insecurity, or feelings of inadequacy. The difference lies in whether they allow those feelings to define them or whether they choose to embrace themselves fully, imperfections and all. Self-love does not mean ignoring flaws or refusing to acknowledge areas for improvement. Rather, it means accepting oneself unconditionally while continuously striving to grow. A writer who fears criticism may hesitate to share their work, worried that it is not good enough. But when they practice self-love, they understand that their voice has value, that their creativity is worth expressing, and that their growth is not measured by external validation, but by the courage to be themselves. By cultivating self-love, individuals develop a sense of stability and confidence that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. They no longer seek validation through comparisons or constant achievement, but instead find fulfillment in knowing that they are enough exactly as they are. This foundation of self-acceptance becomes the cornerstone of emotional resilience, empowering individuals to navigate challenges with grace and confidence. When setbacks arise, they do not view them as reflections of their inadequacy, but as opportunities for learning and growth. With each act of self-love, they strengthen their ability to face life's uncertainties with unwavering self-assurance. Self-care is an essential extension of self-love, a practice that ensures individuals nurture their well-being in every aspect of life, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Without self-care, self-love remains an abstract concept, disconnected from real actions that reinforce a person's sense of self-worth. Many people understand self-care as occasional indulgence, such as taking a break after long hours of work or treating themselves to something enjoyable. However, true self-care is much deeper. It involves consistent and intentional choices that safeguard one's health, energy, and peace of mind. It is not merely about relaxation, but about cultivating a lifestyle that supports growth, stability, and self-respect. Caring for one's physical health is a fundamental aspect of self-care, as the body is the vessel through which all experiences are lived. Eating nourishing foods, maintaining hydration, engaging in regular exercise, and ensuring sufficient sleep are foundational acts of self-respect. A person who consistently neglects their physical health, skipping meals, running on caffeine, or depriving themselves of rest may initially feel productive, but eventually face burnout, illness, and diminished energy. Consider an overworked professional who prioritizes deadlines over proper meals and sleep, believing that pushing through exhaustion is a sign of dedication. Over time, they find themselves struggling with chronic fatigue, decreased concentration, and irritability. By prioritizing balanced meals, physical movement, and rest, they regain clarity and vitality, realizing that caring for their body enhances both their productivity and overall well-being. Emotional self-care is equally important, as it allows individuals to process feelings in a healthy manner rather than suppress or ignore them. Many people grow up conditioned to believe that emotions should be controlled or hidden, leading them to bottle up stress, sadness, or frustration. However, self-care encourages emotional expression in ways that foster healing rather than self-destruction. Journaling, speaking to a trusted friend, or seeking therapy are all valuable tools for emotional well-being. For example, someone struggling with grief might avoid confronting their feelings, fearing vulnerability. Instead, they distract themselves with work or social engagements, only to find that their unprocessed emotions manifest as anxiety or mood swings. By allowing themselves the space to acknowledge and express their emotions, they lighten their emotional burden and create room for healing and peace. Mental self-care involves nurturing one's cognitive health, ensuring that thoughts and beliefs contribute to a positive and empowered mindset. This can include engaging in intellectually stimulating activities such as reading, learning new skills, or practicing mindfulness techniques. The mind thrives on curiosity and challenge, and neglecting mental self-care can lead to stagnation and dissatisfaction. Consider a person who spends hours scrolling through social media, absorbing negative news and unhealthy comparisons. Over time, this habit fosters insecurity and stress, eroding their self-esteem. By consciously limiting exposure to harmful content and instead engaging in activities that stimulate personal growth, such as reading an insightful book or practicing meditation, they reclaim control over their mental well-being and cultivate a more balanced perspective on life. One of the most powerful expressions of self-care is the ability to set and maintain boundaries. Boundaries are essential in preserving energy, protecting personal values, and ensuring that relationships remain healthy and fulfilling. Many individuals struggle with boundaries due to a fear of disappointing others, believing that saying no is selfish or unkind. However, self-care teaches that boundaries are not walls meant to shut others out, but guidelines that define what is acceptable and necessary for personal well-being. Imagine a person who constantly agrees to extra responsibilities at work despite feeling overwhelmed. They take on additional tasks out of guilt, stretching themselves too thin and ultimately sacrificing their own health and happiness. By learning to communicate their limits assertively, such as declining unreasonable requests or ensuring time for rest, they affirm that their well-being matters. Rather than weakening relationships, setting boundaries strengthens them, creating mutual respect and understanding. Self-care also involves recognizing when to take breaks and stepping away from environments that drain energy. In a world that glorifies busyness, many feel guilty for resting, associating productivity with self-worth. However, self-care challenges this notion, reminding individuals that rest is not a luxury, but a necessity. A creative professional, for instance, may push themselves to constantly produce new work, fearing that slowing down will lead to falling behind. Over time, they experience creative burnout, struggling to find inspiration or motivation. Yet, when they step back and allow themselves time to recharge, perhaps by taking a walk, engaging in a hobby, or simply resting, they return with renewed energy and perspective, proving that productivity thrives when balanced with rest. Practicing self-care also means surrounding oneself with positive and supportive influences. The people and environments an individual interacts with play a crucial role in shaping their well-being. Toxic relationships, constant negativity, or being in spaces that drain energy can be detrimental to self-care. A person who repeatedly tolerates toxic friendships or remains in environments that diminish their self-esteem will struggle to cultivate self-love. By consciously choosing to be around those who uplift, respect, and encourage them, they reinforce their own worth. It may mean walking away from relationships that no longer serve their growth or creating spaces that promote peace and joy. This shift is not always easy, but it is a necessary act of self-care that fosters long-term happiness and fulfillment. Another vital aspect of self-care is engaging in activities that bring joy and a sense of fulfillment. Many people associate self-care with obligations, exercising because they should, eating well because it is necessary but true. Self-care also involves doing things simply for the joy they bring, whether it is playing an instrument, painting, gardening, or spending time in nature. These activities nourish the soul and contribute to a well-rounded sense of well-being. A person who spends their days consumed by work and responsibilities without making time for enjoyable activities may find themselves feeling unfulfilled, even if they are successful by conventional standards. By intentionally setting aside time for hobbies and passions, they cultivate a deeper connection with themselves, reinforcing that their happiness is just as important as their responsibilities. Self-care is a continuous practice, not a one-time effort. It evolves with personal growth, requiring individuals to regularly assess their needs and make adjustments accordingly. Some days, self-care may mean pushing oneself to achieve a goal, while on others, it may mean resting and allowing space for reflection. The key is in listening to oneself, understanding what is needed at any given moment, and making choices that align with long-term well-being. Through consistent self-care, individuals build a life that supports not just their success, but their overall fulfillment, ensuring that they thrive in every aspect of life. Emotional and mental well-being are central to the practice of self-love and self-care, serving as the foundation upon which individuals build a stable and fulfilling life. While physical self-care ensures the body is nourished and rested, emotional and mental well-being provide the clarity and resilience needed to navigate life's complexities. Achieving a balanced emotional and mental state requires self-awareness, self-forgiveness, and the ability to celebrate personal achievements, all of which contribute to a stronger sense of self-worth and motivation. Self-awareness is the first step toward emotional well-being, allowing individuals to recognize their strengths, weaknesses, and emotional triggers. Without self-awareness, a person may feel lost, reacting impulsively to situations without understanding the deeper reasons behind their emotions. Developing self-awareness involves reflection, mindfulness, and a willingness to look inward without judgment. Consider an individual who finds themselves repeatedly frustrated in relationships, often feeling unheard or unappreciated. Without self-awareness, they may blame others or assume that they are simply unlucky in love. However, through introspection, they may realize that their frustration stems from a fear of abandonment or an unresolved past experience that causes them to seek constant reassurance. Recognizing this pattern allows them to address their underlying emotions, ultimately leading to healthier relationships and a greater sense of control over their responses. Hand in hand with self-awareness is self-forgiveness, an essential aspect of emotional and mental well-being. Many people carry the weight of past mistakes, allowing guilt and self-blame to shape their self-perception. While taking responsibility for one's actions is important, excessive self-punishment can be damaging, preventing growth and healing. True self-forgiveness involves acknowledging mistakes, learning from them, and allowing oneself to move forward without being trapped in regret. Imagine someone who made a poor financial decision that resulted in significant debt. They might continuously berate themselves, believing they are irresponsible or incapable. However, by practicing self-forgiveness, they shift their focus from self-blame to problem solving. Instead of dwelling on past choices, they seek financial education, create a repayment plan, and grow from the experience. This shift in mindset not only helps them recover practically, but also restores their confidence and sense of agency. Letting go of guilt does not mean ignoring responsibility. Rather, it means understanding that mistakes are an inevitable part of life and do not define one's worth. Many high achievers struggle with self-forgiveness, feeling that any misstep is a personal failure. A dedicated professional who misses a deadline may dwell on their mistake, feeling unworthy of success. However, if they view the situation with self-compassion, they recognize that one missed deadline does not negate their hard work and competence. By forgiving themselves and using the experience as motivation to improve time management, they turn a setback into a learning opportunity. This ability to reframe experiences positively is a hallmark of emotional resilience. A crucial aspect of maintaining emotional well-being is the ability to celebrate personal achievements, no matter how small. In a world that often emphasizes major successes, many people overlook their daily progress, waiting for a significant milestone before allowing themselves to feel accomplished. However, true self-worth is reinforced through the consistent recognition of effort and growth. A writer working on a novel may feel discouraged because they have not yet completed an entire book. However, if they take the time to acknowledge each chapter written, each idea developed, and each moment spent refining their craft, they begin to see their progress more clearly. Celebrating small victories creates motivation and builds confidence, making long-term goals feel more attainable. Recognizing achievements is especially important for those who struggle with self-doubt. Many people hesitate to acknowledge their successes, fearing that doing so might seem arrogant or undeserved. However, self-appreciation is not about boasting. It is about affirming one's efforts and reinforcing self-belief. An individual recovering from anxiety might hesitate to celebrate their progress because they still experience moments of fear. Yet, if they take a step back and acknowledge how far they have come, perhaps they once avoided social situations entirely, but now they can engage in small conversations, they begin to see their strength and resilience. Each step forward, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is a testament to growth. The connection between emotional well-being and self-care becomes evident when individuals recognize that self-awareness, self-forgiveness, and self-celebration require continuous effort. Just as physical self-care involves regular maintenance, emotional and mental well-being require ongoing attention and intentionality. A person who prioritizes emotional self-care might incorporate practices such as journaling, meditation, or therapy into their routine, ensuring they have the tools needed to process emotions in a healthy way. Similarly, creating a habit of acknowledging personal achievements can be as simple as ending each day by reflecting on one positive action taken, reinforcing the mindset that every effort matters. Emotional and mental well-being empower individuals to navigate life with greater ease, resilience, and self-assurance. Through self-awareness, they gain clarity about their emotions and behaviors, allowing them to make conscious choices rather than reactive decisions. Through self-forgiveness, they release the burdens of guilt and regret, freeing themselves to grow without fear of past mistakes defining their future. Through the celebration of achievements, they build confidence and motivation, reinforcing their intrinsic worth. When these practices become part of daily life, they create a sense of balance, enabling individuals to experience life fully with acceptance, self-respect, and a deep appreciation for their journey. The power of positive thinking and mindfulness plays a crucial role in fostering emotional and mental well-being, directly supporting the journey of self-love and self-care. While self-awareness and self-forgiveness allow individuals to understand and heal from their past, cultivating a positive mindset enables them to shape a more fulfilling present and future. Negative thoughts and self-doubt often arise from deeply ingrained beliefs, external influences, or past experiences, making it essential to challenge and reframe them. By embracing positivity and mindfulness, individuals develop resilience, emotional stability, and a greater sense of inner peace. A positive self-image is not something one is simply born with, but is cultivated through consistent efforts to reshape the way one perceives oneself. Many people unknowingly hold on to negative self-perceptions, allowing past criticisms or failures to dictate their self-worth. A person who was frequently told as a child that they were not talented enough may carry that belief into adulthood, avoiding opportunities for growth because they assume they will fail. However, by consciously challenging these limiting thoughts, they begin to see that past experiences do not define their present abilities. They might start by recognizing their skills in other areas, reminding themselves of times when they have succeeded and gradually taking small steps toward their goals. Over time, this shift in mindset strengthens their confidence, allowing them to approach new challenges with a sense of capability rather than fear. One effective method for cultivating a positive self-image is the use of affirmations. Daily affirmations are statements that reinforce self-worth and potential, counteracting negative thoughts. A person struggling with self-doubt might start their morning by saying, "I am capable, I am worthy, and I am enough." Although this practice may feel unnatural at first, repetition rewires the brain to internalize these beliefs. Consider an athlete who has faced multiple losses in their career. Instead of allowing these setbacks to define them, they can use affirmations such as, "I learn from every challenge and I grow stronger with each experience." Over time, their mindset shifts from one of discouragement to one of resilience, motivating them to continue improving rather than giving up. Practicing gratitude is another powerful tool for cultivating positivity, shifting focus from deficiencies to appreciation. In a world that constantly emphasizes what is lacking, whether it be material possessions, social status, or personal achievements, gratitude serves as a reminder of what is already present and valuable. Many people fall into the trap of believing that happiness is dependent on reaching a particular milestone, such as landing a dream job or achieving a specific goal. However, those who practice gratitude understand that joy can be found in the present moment. A student struggling through a difficult academic year might feel overwhelmed by stress, focusing only on what they have yet to accomplish. However, by taking a few moments each day to acknowledge small victories, such as completing an assignment, receiving support from a friend, or learning something new, they begin to appreciate their progress rather than dwelling on how far they still have to go. Gratitude does not require grand gestures. It can be as simple as appreciating the warmth of the sun on a cold morning, the kindness of a stranger, or the ability to wake up and face another day. A practical way to incorporate gratitude into daily life is through journaling. Writing down 3 things to be grateful for each day helps shift the mind's focus from negativity to appreciation. Someone who feels stuck in their career might start by acknowledging aspects of their job that they enjoy, such as having supportive colleagues or gaining valuable experience. This practice helps reframe their perspective, allowing them to approach their situation with renewed motivation rather than frustration. Mindfulness further strengthens the practice of positive thinking by training the mind to stay present. Many people experience stress and anxiety because their thoughts are consumed by worries about the future or regrets about the past. Mindfulness allows individuals to focus on the here and now, reducing the tendency to overanalyze or catastrophize situations. A person who struggles with social anxiety might constantly replay past conversations in their mind, wondering if they said something wrong or if others judged them. However, mindfulness teaches them to observe these thoughts without attachment, recognizing them as passing mental events rather than absolute truths. By doing so, they gradually reduce self-imposed pressure and develop a sense of ease in social interactions. Mindfulness also encourages self-compassion, helping individuals break free from the cycle of harsh self-judgment. Many people hold themselves to unrealistic standards, feeling disappointed when they fall short. A writer who struggles with perfectionism might spend hours obsessing over a single paragraph, fearing that their work is not good enough. Through mindfulness, they learn to observe these self-critical thoughts without becoming consumed by them. Instead of seeing imperfections as failures, they begin to recognize them as natural parts of the creative process. This shift in perspective allows them to move forward with confidence, embracing progress rather than perfection. Integrating mindfulness into daily routines does not require drastic changes, but rather small, intentional shifts in awareness. Walking mindfully by paying attention to each step, eating meals slowly to savor each bite, or taking a few moments to appreciate a beautiful view are all simple ways to cultivate mindfulness. A person who often feels rushed in their daily life might start by setting aside a few minutes each morning to simply breathe and center themselves before beginning their day. This small practice can have a profound impact, creating a sense of calm and clarity that carries through even the most stressful moments. By combining positive thinking, gratitude, and mindfulness, individuals build a mindset that fosters resilience, emotional balance, and self-assurance. They learn to challenge negative thoughts rather than accept them as truth, to appreciate what they have rather than focus on what they lack, and to stay present rather than be consumed by worry. Through these practices, they strengthen their ability to navigate challenges with confidence and cultivate a deep sense of inner peace. As these habits become part of daily life, self-love and self-care are reinforced, creating a foundation for lasting well-being, and fulfillment. The social and environmental factors surrounding an individual play a crucial role in reinforcing self-love and overall well-being. While personal growth and self-awareness are essential for emotional and mental health, the people and environments one interacts with can either strengthen or weaken this foundation. A supportive social circle encourages self-acceptance and emotional resilience, while toxic relationships and negative surroundings can drain energy, create self-doubt, and hinder personal growth. By consciously choosing to surround themselves with positive influences, individuals reinforce their self-worth and cultivate a more fulfilling life. Supportive relationships act as mirrors that reflect back love, encouragement, and acceptance. When individuals are surrounded by people who genuinely care for them, respect their boundaries, and uplift them during difficult times, they feel valued and empowered. A person struggling with self-doubt may find reassurance in friends who remind them of their strengths and potential. Consider an artist hesitant to share their work due to fear of criticism. If they have a circle that encourages them, offering constructive feedback and celebrating their creativity, they gain the confidence to express themselves freely. On the other hand, if their environment consists of people who dismiss their passion or belittle their efforts, they may begin to internalize these doubts, leading to hesitation and fear of failure. This highlights the importance of choosing relationships that nurture rather than diminish self-esteem. Eliminating toxic relationships is an essential step in maintaining emotional well-being. Not all connections are beneficial, and some may cause more harm than good. Relationships characterized by manipulation, constant negativity, or lack of respect create emotional distress and hinder self-growth. A person who constantly feels drained after interacting with a particular friend or family member should consider whether that relationship is contributing positively to their life. Imagine someone who repeatedly supports a friend who never reciprocates kindness or consideration. Over time, this imbalance leads to resentment and exhaustion. By recognizing the need for healthy reciprocity, they make space for relationships that are mutually supportive and fulfilling. Walking away from toxic relationships is not an act of selfishness, but of self-preservation, ensuring that energy is invested in connections that uplift rather than deplete. Engaging in passions and hobbies provides another avenue for self-love and fulfillment. While relationships with others are important, the relationship one has with themselves is equally vital. Pursuing personal interests, whether in the form of creative expression, physical activities, or intellectual pursuits, allows individuals to reconnect with their inner joy and purpose. A person passionate about writing, for instance, may find solace in crafting stories that reflect their thoughts and emotions. Someone who enjoys gardening experiences peace and fulfillment through nurturing life. These activities serve as reminders that happiness is not solely derived from external validation, but from within. Hobbies also provide a sense of accomplishment, reinforcing self-worth and giving individuals something to look forward to in their daily lives. The environment in which a person spends their time significantly affects their emotional state. A cluttered, chaotic space may contribute to stress and restlessness, while a calm, organized setting fosters relaxation and clarity. Similarly, exposure to negativity, whether through social media, workplace dynamics, or the news, can influence thoughts and emotions. A person who regularly consumes content that fuels insecurity or fear may find themselves trapped in a cycle of anxiety. However, by curating an environment that promotes positivity, such as surrounding themselves with inspirational books, engaging in nature, or limiting exposure to toxic media, they create a space that nurtures their well-being. Ultimately, social and environmental influences shape an individual's self-perception and emotional health. By choosing to be around supportive individuals, eliminating toxic relationships, and engaging in passions that bring joy, one reinforces self-love in a meaningful way. Cultivating a positive environment, both socially and physically, ensures that the journey of self-care and personal growth is sustained, creating a life that is not only fulfilling, but also deeply aligned with one's true self. Self-love is not a destination, but a continuous journey that unfolds throughout a lifetime, requiring patience, commitment, and a willingness to grow. It is not about achieving perfection, but about embracing every part of oneself, the strengths, the flaws, the successes, and the setbacks. Along the way, there will be moments of doubt, challenges that test resilience, and experiences that push individuals outside their comfort zones. However, these difficulties do not signify failure. Rather, they are opportunities for learning, self-discovery, and personal evolution. True fulfillment does not come from meeting external expectations, but from living authentically, honoring one's values, and cultivating a deep sense of self-worth. Resilience is a key component of self-love, allowing individuals to navigate setbacks without losing confidence in their intrinsic value. Mistakes and hardships are inevitable, but they do not define one's worth. What matters is the ability to rise, to forgive oneself, and to move forward with newfound wisdom. Each challenge faced strengthens emotional and mental fortitude, reinforcing the understanding that growth is not linear, but a process of continuous refinement. At its core, self-love is about recognizing that one is enough, just as they are, while still striving for self-improvement. It is about treating oneself with kindness, setting boundaries that protect well-being, and creating a life that aligns with personal fulfillment. When individuals embrace their uniqueness and prioritize self-care, they cultivate an inner peace that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. Ultimately, self-love lays the foundation for a life that is not only balanced and empowered, but also deeply meaningful.